Well, hello and good afternoon to everyone. We are so very happy to have you with us today. You know, it is Tuesday. It doesn't feel like a Tuesday to me, though. And I just want to say welcome to every one of you. We have our wonderful guest with us today, and he's going to share a lot of great information. But there's a couple of things that I do want to make sure that everybody knows. I've gotten some questions sent to me from email, by the email, asking questions of Dr. B. And that's who our guest is today. So he is here, and we're going to ask some of those questions. I know somebody asked a question about what does stress do as it relates to parasites in the body. Now, I'm just giving the question the way you gave it, but hopefully he can give us that answer as well as a lot of other great information today. Again, welcome to TLP Headlines with a Voice. And I want to say hello to Dr. B, who's joining us as well. Hello, kind sir.
Good day, good day. It's good to see you. How are you?
Great to be seen. I'm well. I'm well. Listen, I just want to say that in case anybody has not taken a course with Dr. B, I have taken a few courses that he has that are available. And I recommend that you guys, as soon as we put up all the information, get right there to elevation time. And then you guys find out about what I'm talking about, because there are some good courses and classes that we've been taking. And I'm telling you, life changing information. Kind sir, did you hear that question that someone asked? They asked us a question with regards to what does stress do as it relates to parasites? Do those go hand in hand? And if so, what can they do? I mean, is that real?
Well, stress weakens the entire system. And when you're in stress mode, your immune system turns down. And if you're in constant, what we call chronic stress, your immune system may not be working at all. The average person in America today has very little or a very slow immune response. Because when you're in stress mode, right, the body says there's an emergency. It doesn't know what the emergency is. It doesn't know if you're having a bad hair day, whether, you're just upset because the mail didn't come on time. That stress response hits the nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system, and tells the body that there is an emergency, right? That emergency sends a message to the kidneys, to the adrenal glands, and begins to pump adrenaline, because maybe it's a saber-toothed dog, maybe it's a huge emergency. We need to be ready to run. That signals the body to move all blood flow to the extremities. Okay, that's the arms and the legs, so we can fight, maybe, run and flight. And if we're having stress, then the blood flow is not in the stomach, in the digestive tract at that particular time. Blood flow is not at the immune system level. It's at the extremity level, so that you can run. Now, imagine you're doing this all day long. Your immune system is not working the way it should because, you're stressed. Like I say, we need to be when you're in emergency mode, the body's like, we need to be ready to run. Never mind the cold or the flu or whatever else you're dealing with. So parasites depend on this. And when you are in that stressful mode, the parasites cannot, or they can easily invade other organs. They can eat you. The guards are out. There's no protection. It's like the police department is gone, because the immune system is like the police department and the fire engines and the ambulance. But they shut down when there's an emergency elsewhere, whether it's imagined, real, or not. So yes, stress does help the parasites. It also helps bacteria and viruses become stronger, because there's no control, there's no protection for your system. So we find that the average person in America is stressed like nobody's stressed as much as some of us now, especially after this last 2 years. So our immunity is way down, way down. And a lot of folks are taking, different pharmaceuticals and things to try to build the immune system up. Your immune system comes up when you are in a relaxed state. You're feeling good. Your immune system is at 100%. So the parasites take advantage of us being in stress mode. And there's a couple parasites, one of them called toxoplasma, that actually creates the stressful environment. That is called the mind control parasite, toxoplasma. It lives in the amygdala of the brain, and it causes us to be triggered by things that, let's put it this way, it changes your perception of love and peace and safety and fear and anger. It plays with your perceptions. So, in animals, it gets into animals, and animals don't even know how to protect themselves. They don't know because they're afraid all the time. And once that parasite is keeping you in fear mode or anger mode or just agitation, then your body can't track it down and kill it. So it's got free reign because we're stressed out. So when we get rid of toxoplasma, which is a very challenging parasite to alleviate, but when we get rid of toxoplasma, everything changes because your immune system comes back online. You get out of this chronic stress, and a lot of people don't realize they are stressed in fear mode, right? And feel like victims 24/7 because this parasite is doing it. It's called toxoplasma. But there's several parasites that actually deal with the immune response. They shut it down. They deal with blood flow, and when they keep your body in a state of stress, then they become powerful. Are we there? Are you there? You there? So I guess I'll keep going. So one of the things that we realize is that the chronic stress that we receive from the news, from broadcast, oh boy, how bad it is in the world. It just keeps people from being able to truly protect themselves because they're in a state of fight, flight, or freeze. Flight is when you run from the thing that you're afraid of. You know what I'm saying? Fight is when you stand and fight for the thing of or with the thing that you're afraid of. And freeze is when you don't do anything. You don't run, you don't do anything. If we were afraid of something, let's say it was a tiger after us, well, we'd run, right? You'd run and you'd burn off the adrenaline, you'd burn off the cortisol, you'd burn off the stress hormones. And then when you get to a place where you're no longer in danger, your body, returns to normal, your blood flow, your pulse drops, and the adrenaline and the cortisol levels drop. But in America, we're afraid every time we go outside, every time you look up in the sky, and oh boy, there's chemtrails. I heard about terrible things happening in the news and the neighbors and the community. So by staying in stress mode constantly, right? The immune system, the blood flow, the heart, the kidneys, the liver, the spleen, every single organ, right, is suffering. It can't do its job. It can't be at 100% because of the chronic state of stress. And that chronic state of stress is really, really one of the number one disease causers out there. And yes, the parasites, the bacteria, the viruses, the fungus, all of those things take advantage of us being in a constant state of stress.
I'm so glad that you were able to explain that because that is something that I think that obviously the person who sent the question really wanted to get down to the bottom of. In tandem with that, I've heard you mention, and I hope you guys can hear me well. In tandem with that, I've heard you mention the importance of the gut and the importance of the stomach as it relates to our overall health and well-being. I used to take a yogurt, like raw yogurt. Back in the day, I would do the raw yogurt with all the little live cultures and all that other stuff. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But how much, as far as the stomach is concerned, how much of what goes into the stomach or what the stomach doesn't do, as far as working or whatever, how much does that play in our overall health as well?
Well, the gut is like the majority of your immune system is created in the gut by the friendly bacteria, the ones that you were supposed to get from this yogurt. The problem with yogurt is, most of the people in the world cannot digest dairy products because they don't have the lactase, which is the enzyme that breaks down lactose. Only people, usually people of real European descent actually have the lactase after age of 5. Most other people in the world don't have it. So if we're taking yogurt or eating yogurt that's from dairy, that alone is causing a problem. But if you could get the friendly bacteria, these cultures from other places like coconut milk, you can make it. You can have coconut yogurt. There's now rice yogurt, things like that. They have some of these friendly bacteria. These friendly bacteria are basically, they're like your best friends. Their job is to look for problems, look for issues, look for toxins, bacteria. And when you have a healthy gut, everything else is healthy because the flora, what they call the bio, I just lost the name. The flora, the gut bacteria environment, right, is important to be healthy. Now, because of the way we've eaten in North America, because of the toxins, the poisons, the alcohol, drugs, food that is not really food, franken foods, and processed foods. All of these things are causing a problem in the gut. And when the gut is not healthy because you're eating things that are eating the friendly bacteria or making the microbiome toxic. The microbiome is the environment or the community of your gut. You see, when you are eating in a way that actually it hinders them from being healthy or doing their job, it's bad. Now, another thing that it hinders the gut is eating things like tomatoes with skin. The skin of the tomato has lectins in it. Lectins help to destroy the friendly bacteria. That's a protective coating that the tomatoes have that actually protects it from, those who might eat its babies, because the tomato has got babies. I mean, it's got, seeds. The same thing with certain things like peanuts are high in lectins. Cashews are very high in lectins. And foods that, these are vegetables. We hear eat vegetables, that every vegetable is good, but it depends on if that vegetable, right, has been processed correctly.
How do we eat it without the
if you go
tomatoes?
to talk to the Italians and the Spanish people, right, in Spain, they peel the skin off and they squeeze the seeds out. You get the high-end tomato sauce. It says that it has no seeds and no skin. You can buy it right at your regular market, but it's going to be more, the price is going to be more expensive, of course, because they had to do another level of processing. But peanuts, I would never eat. I would never eat a cashew, ever, 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 because it just drops into your gut and just explodes everything. I mean, squirrels don't eat them. You know what I'm saying? If you throw them out for the squirrels, they look at you like, what the heck are you doing? You're trying to kill me?
Are they real? I mean, are they a hybrid? I mean, what are...
No, peanuts are real. There's different types of peanuts, but it's just that peanuts are not nuts. They're legumes.
Oh, like a bean.
Like a bean, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And because they have a soft shell and they grow in acrid soil, they grow in soil that's like acidic, right? They suck everything in the soil into them.
Okay.
So there's like these aflatoxins and these things that's in soil. The more toxic your soil is, the more peanuts you can grow. You see what I'm saying? So peanuts are not something that we should be eating. If you're going to eat them, maybe eat one or two and put the bag down. But folks eat the whole planter's can.
Yeah, they're salty.
They're salty. Most of the other nuts are good. It's just that the cashew, which is technically not a nut, it's part of a fruit. It's a jelly that if you ate it raw, you die. People don't even realize that you have to take if you want to search for something, Google the hands of people that pick or process cashews. If you go there and Google the hands of people who process cashew,
and I'm gonna do it right now,
your mind will be blown. Their fingernails are gone. Sometimes their fingers are gone. They have this acid, this burn. They're black, and the people are sick because they're processing and picking this raw cashew. And when you see it, you're like, oh my God, this is cashew?
Oh, wow.
You see it?
Yeah.
It's mind blowing.
Wow.
So it's doing that at a lesser level in your gut.
Wow. I want everybody to see this just in case.
This is what they make poison darts out of. This is kibari. Poison darts are made from, the cashew juice or
the stuff.
The jelly.
Wow. Wow. I had no idea. None.
Like you're looking at the good pictures. There's some worse than that. Their hands are really, really messed up.
Well, they've cleaned up a lot of the stuff that they want you to see and don't want you to see lately. I've noticed that they've been really, really, really doing it. But you see, this person here has on gloves. And I mean, they're not just regular gloves. They look like they went through the village and collected all kind of clothes to make them, because this hand doesn't have anything on it. But this hand that they're actually touching, it does. And I mean, it's a thick covering. So let's see if they have anybody else. But from what I've seen thus far, of course, everything's got to be pretty because the world is full of love and there's nothing bad and everything is good.
What did you put in your search engine? What did you put in there?
The hands of people who process cashews.
Just put cashew hands.
Okay, let's see what that does.
Cashew
Okay.
hands.
Cashew hands. That reminds me of that famous Seinfeld version of the lady who had the big hands, man hands. Okay, let's see. Okay, whoa.
See, you
Whoa.
see, now they're getting a little worse. You see?
It says here blood cashews, the toxic truth about cashew production. Well, I'm sure that's going in another direction, but look at those hands. Burning skin and detachments from contacts with cashew nuts. Wow.
You see, they are toxin. They are really not the best thing to eat. And there is medicines that they make in in those places where they grow out of them. But it's like certain herbs and things like that. It has to be done a special way. It has to be processed a special way.
Wow.
But without drying them out, if they don't sit them in the sun and let them dry, you can't eat them. So these types of foods are highly toxic, and they just destroy the gut. They just destroy the gut bacteria.
Wow. Who would have ever known? So, originally, do you know the history of these? Or maybe we could probably take the time and look that up in the future. But the reason why we're even eating them as nuts, I don't know why anybody would ever. Wow, wow. I guess there are companies out there who maybe made some money out of it. It says skin damage and aesthetic disadvantages observed in the women of the digging around with the cashews. Wow. Wow.
But the business is like people like them, so we can't blame the companies. People decided they
No, no,
wanted
you
them.
can't. Yeah, yeah, they
So
want
it's
them.
it's it's the people they love them. But what the people go through who pick them is just terrible. Their
Yeah.
hands are deformed and burned forever.
Oh,
And that
wow.
toxin is the main thing, that poison, which is a nerve chemical, right? It's a nerve toxin, gets in your system, even if you buy them in the store. They're here, they're nice and in the bag, and you're sitting down watching your movie, eating them. That chemical, that toxin is going in your system, destroying your gut bacteria. You see, and a lot of the foods that we eat here in America actually destroy gut bacteria. So we've got to be replacing the energy and the what they call the microbiome constantly. So yogurt is one way. Another way is to eat like olives, things that are fermented, pickles, things like that. They help. Apple cider vinegar, helps. And you really, if you're going to buy a supplement from a store or from online, you want to get one that says that it has at least 24 strains. See, most of the time when you go to the store, you look at it'll say that it has a billion this and a million that. You want 24 strains. Strains are the
Okay.
different types of friendly bacteria. In fact, women need 32.
Hmm.
Women need 32 different strains, and there's a
A
couple
friendly
companies
flora.
of friendly flora, microflora, 32 different strains. It's not about how many billion and million is in the bottle or different, because they want to tell you how many of the little babies are in there. Oh, it's not about the babies, it's about how many of the adults, right, with different strains can make different types that do different things. And they all have different jobs.
Well, based on the statement that we were just talking about, I want to read this because it is from Leaf Desi, who says, wow, I thought I was allergic to cashew because they make my lip blister, but now I know. Oh, no, none of us knew. That is amazing. And I didn't even know that you had this allergy here. But I mean, just think about it. It does make sense now that we've seen the photos and now that we've heard exactly what they do. Again, he's not saying don't do it. He's saying, hey, you know what? You know now, make your choice. And I know for me personally, I won't be digging around in no more of those bags. But yeah. Okay, so now let's go back a little bit because I know we were talking about the tomato. How do we cook those at home? Do we use do we peel them? How do we do that? If you are a person who really does like a tomato, you can eat the tomato. We're just saying, be cognizant of the fact that the shell has some protective stuff going on. You might not want to eat it. But what do we do? Just peel that back and eat the inside of the tomato with a salad? And can you even use it with lettuce? Because I know it is a fruit.
Well, you can, but first of all, I'd get a Roma tomato. Roma tomato is one of the closest ones to the original tomatoes. And you get the Roma
My
tomato
favorite, my
and
favorite.
you cut a X in like the bottom of it, cut an X. Then you throw it in hot boiling water and the skin begins to peel back and you just grab it and peel it off. Then you can take that same tomato and squeeze it, and all of the seeds shoot out. That's it.
And so the goal is to not have the seeds in it.
Seeds and the skin have lectins.
Okay, seeds in the skin.
They destroy the friendly bacteria. They change the way your body digests fats. It changes your hormones. See, a lot of folks have a hormonal issue because they're eating a lot of plants with, fruits and things with lectins.
What else has lectin in it that we may not have noticed? Because I knew I didn't know anything about the cashew. I just knew that they weren't good to eat. And then, of course, now we know the tomato. But what else may we take for granted on a daily basis that you might just on the top of your head think about?
Kale.
Oh my gosh, I love kale. Go ahead. Wow,
Kale
really?
is high. Remember, the lectins are it's like a chemical or protein that the plant is making to try to protect you from eating it or its young, its babies, its offspring. And kale, I know people think kale is a super good health food, but when did kale pop up? It's only been like 10 years and it's everywhere. Oh boy, it's the forgotten health food. Well, if you remember, it was only a garnish in Chinese food years ago. That's all it was.
Yeah,
You didn't eat
that
it
is true.
because
That's
it was
true.
too hard to digest. It's hard. You see? Then all of a sudden, someone knew we were all into this eat healthy thing. Someone said, get them to eat kale. And they started marketing kale, which actually destroyed the gut bacteria even more. So now people are taking more drugs than ever, not realizing that it could be kale. There is an article called Kale Bites Back. Look that up. Kale Bites Back. In fact, Dr. Lockhart is really good at research. I know she's going to pull it up. But
I got
just so
it
that
right
you don't
here.
think that Dr. B is just trying to make you suffer, my job is to help you be as healthy as possible.
Absolutely. I pulled it up. It's right here. So we're going to go ahead and read this right here, you guys, because we just need to know. Yes, we do. Okay, so the article is Kale Bites Back. And then it says, turns out the popular green has a potent self-defense system. Now I'm going to make it bigger. Okay, just so that I and you can share at the same time, folks at home. All right, so it does say that a laundry list of healthy attributes has put kale on pole position to be the vegetable of the new decade. But the rogue green is also armed with an array of defense geared at doing serious damage to any creature that tries to eat it. In addition, to containing cyanide like thiocyanate. Oh, kale also contains lectins associated with the autoimmune disease and anti-nutrients that keep your body from absorbing the vitamins and minerals. So why is it again that we are all trying to reach out or out kale one another, consuming mass amounts of kale salad and julienne leaves edgewise in their dishes, where it by no means makes good sense or belongs? The amounts of these chemicals in each of the kale varies widely. Melissa McEwen, who wrote the piece on this whatever says, quote, no, so consuming kale is like eating an uncontrolled cocktail of immunogenic and bioactive health harming chemicals and their even more chaotic breakdown products. I'm going to leave the link to this story because I don't want to belabor the time with our guest. I'm glad that he told us about this, but I'm definitely putting it inside of the description. And I'm actually going to drop it down in here with you guys right now. This is amazing because I never knew that. And I just got through saying the other day how much I loved kale and how much I thought kale was so great. It was a bit bitter and it did seem a bit hard. It always seems a bit hard. But, just now they're touting kale exactly as they would eating collard greens or turnip greens, and turnips are now my favorite. Turnips themselves are my favorite. And so, wow, Dr. B. All right, so we know what to do with that. We know what not to do with that. And you're right. Is this a hybrid vegetable?
Very hybrid.
Okay.
It's a friend of mine who is a botanist said that this had something to do with a nuclear accident. Now, I don't have the actual research on that, but the leaves of the greens, right, the greens that were growing in the fields, shriveled up and thickened, and they called it kale. but it is in the family of collard greens, right? And mustard greens and things like that. The bracharia, that family is actually, they're all kind of hybrid, but this one is extremely hybrid. You see, so broccoli, kale, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, that's all the family, and they're called the cruciferous fruits, or the cruciferous group. They call them cruciferous because their flower makes a cross, and they say it's like, Christ being crucified on the cross, because every flower has a cross. But most of them are actually pretty good for you. And if you could get the original wild greens, oh my God, the wild mustards and things like that, which they do have in stores, and the turnip greens are excellent. They're good. But this particular one, when it came out and folks were pumped up over this, I said, no, they just don't know. And people think the word healthy means good for you. Sometimes it's hell. It's the hell of thee. It doesn't mean that it's good in a healthy doesn't mean good. There's negative health issues and there's positive health issues. So that I recognized a lot when I was starting to do lectures with people who were basically, the conscious folks, people who were asking me to come speak. And I noticed everybody's angry. Why are y'all so angry and mad at everything? You don't like each other. You don't like the world. You don't like the corporations. You don't like the government. Who do you like? And I started saying, oh, it's the lectins in their gut. It's disrupting the gut. And the gut has a whole lot to do with your attitude. It has a whole lot to do with what you're feeling. So if there's a war going on in your gut between the friendly bacteria, the bad bacteria, the lectins, the gluten and the gluteomorphines and things like that, there's a war going on in your gut. So you don't feel good. You're mad. And you think you're eating healthier, right? Somebody told you this was healthier, but you didn't do all the research yourself. See, I'm a researcher. I go in deep. Or I talk to people who are researchers. So I deal with botanists. I deal with, people who have more science than I do. And everybody I've talked to that really knows says, well, there is a couple types of kale that you can get that are closer to the original and better for you. But that's not mostly what you're seeing at the grocery store. That is a very questionable.
It's a totally different thing. One other question I want to ask you. I heard you mentioning things that are good for you, and I heard you mention things like pickles and stuff like that. I love sauerkraut, and so I've just recently found like sauerkraut, and I chop up some garlic and use that. Can you tell us, why do you crave vinegar? Why are there people who are actually craving like that vinegary type? It's like a deficiency or something, or what do those types of foods do for the body? I heard you mention the pickles. I heard you mention that, and I know maybe the sauerkraut is in there too, but yeah, tell me about that.
Well, things like sauerkraut and pickles and things like that, they have this friendly bacteria in them. They are they're fermented, and fermented foods happen to be really good for us because they have the right amount of these friendly bacteria. Now, the reason why we crave them is because the body is saying, hey, look, I need some. Let's get some. We're happy. This makes us feel good. So a lot of us crave it, so it's just a sign that your body's looking for some goodness. And sauerkraut, all of that kind of stuff is really, really good. And you put that in your salad and all that. And now, you can break things down and even some of the processes where I, work with the herbs, and in my formulation, we do some fermenting. We have to ferment some of these things because fermenting takes a vegetable product and breaks it down into very small particles. So it's, excuse me, it's like slightly digesting it.
So it's slightly doing some work before you do the work, and it sort of helps you along the way.
Helps you digest it because it's
helps you digest it. Okay,
broken down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Even like wine, grape wine. Certain wines are actually good for you because they are partially digested grapes. Now you got to be careful with wine because a lot of the wines have sulfites, and these sulfites are the preservatives that makes it sit on the counter and look pretty.
That's what gives you the headaches. Oftentimes, it's like a lot of times, you'll get the glass of wine and then you'll get the headache later, and it sort of makes you say, "No, I'm allergic to wine," or "No, I don't want any wine." And I do, on occasion, I do like red wine. But it's got to be a specific kind because I can't drink all of them, as you said, sulfites. But at one point when I was living in Georgia, I did do a whole search looking for some that didn't have any sulfate in them, and some you could find it, but it was very difficult. And some of it was pretty pricey. Not that it's a problem as far as price is concerned, because if you get it, you like what you get. But yeah, some of them do have the sulfite in it. Makes you really sick, gives you a terrible headache. I wanted to take a little bit and let's talk about if we can move just a little bit over, just a nudge, or just a little bit lower. And I know that they're all adults here, so I hope there's nothing but adults. I want to talk about and this is a very serious question. So those of you who are here, if you're easily offended, you might not want to be here, baby. But I want to know, how does parasitic infestation affect one's love life? How does it affect you? And is there any correlation at all? And can you catch something from the person that you love on?
Well, we're always cross-contaminating. You see, we're always in cross-contamination mode from whoever we're touching, kissing, rubbing. So some folks say, well, we didn't really do anything but kiss. Well, you got what they got. So we have to be more discerning when choosing who we're going to be with. And as far as, parasites alone, they cross-contaminate. So I tell folks, if you're going to be doing like, one of my 28-day programs, you might need to, shut down the oven for a little bit, or, don't cross-contaminate, because the parasites will go to the other person. Like you're cleansing, let's say your mate is not, right? And those parasites will leave you, go rush to the other person, hide out and wait. And then when you're off the cleanse, they come back to you. So you're cross-contaminating. But there are things and energies that we actually do share from those that we're intimate with. And some of them are physical, some of them are non-physical, what we call energetic. And we'll talk about that in just a second. But there are things that we do and can catch from people. So when we're talking about the friendly bacteria, we share a microbiome. You see, the vagina is full of these microbiome. The opening, or what they call the mouth of the penis, is full of these microbiome, these friendly bacteria. And they meet and they hang out, and they get to partying, and some of them mix, some of them don't. And I hear, there's a lot of diseases that people say, well, I caught it from, I caught herpes from dealing with Charlie over there. Now, the herpes is a little different, because you got herpes from chickenpox. Chickenpox is herpes. Herpes is chickenpox, along with shingles and a whole group of other things that we get from chickens. We want to blame it on Charlie over there, but Charlie's been eating chickens too. You've been eating chicken, and most of us had the chicken vaccine or the chicken pox vaccine, which means they might have gave you a little bit more of the chicken, virus. But a lot of times we want to blame something on somebody, but what it happens is that your friendly bacteria changes sometimes when you get a new mate or you're with somebody. And when the friendly bacteria, or fear is in, because some people are involved intimately and they're afraid. I hope they don't hurt me, and I hope they don't break my heart. Now, what if they don't call me tomorrow? We're already in a lack, limitation, not enoughness, poor me, victim mindset. So your immune system drops. So now, even if that person did have something, if your immune system was working correctly, if you had a superior immune system, right, you might not catch anything from that person, even if they did have something. So there are things you can catch. Now, this trichomonas. Trichomonas comes from pork. But trichomonas, if you're dealing with somebody that's eating pork, or who even ate pork in the past and hasn't done a really serious, detoxification from trichomonas, you're going to get tricked. And that parasite is serious. You see? So a lot of folks do catch things like that. I'm not saying there's not things you can catch from sexually transmission, but there are some things that are not. It's just was latent in your body. A lot of folks have what you call retroviruses. Retroviruses are viruses that are latent viruses that you actually got a long time ago. So like somebody pops up with shingles. Well, shingles is a herpes virus, but it's latent. It's retro. You got it when you were, 5 years old, when you had chickenpox, and it slept. It slept until you ate a little too much chicken, right? And then you had avian virus, because, most of the chickens have avian, right? Look that up, the avian virus. Almost all the chickens have it. In fact, here in Georgia, they just stopped all chicken production because they don't want this problem to affect their product. But the chickens have the chicken flu. That's what it's called, the bird flu. And it's serious. It's getting worse and worse, and all of these things that we're actually sexually transmitting back and forth too. You see, whoever you're involved with, you're trading energy. You see? So that is something that we need to look at. And I want to go to one other thing, which is a little different. A lot of people are suffering because they're still energetically in relationship with their exes.
Wow. Ooh.
When you connect with someone, there is a biochemical electromagnetic connection that happens when the bodies join. And I'll give you a good picture. Let's say the energy around your body was your aura, which that's what they call it, your auric field, which is your biosphere. The energy around you is your biosphere. Let's say that yours is the color green, right? And you get with somebody and their biosphere is red. When you mix, you make a new color, don't you? Red and green make a new color. I'm not sure what it is because I left school at that point, mixing colors. I said, I'm not going to be a painter. What am I worried about? But anyway, my point is that when you mix with a person, your energy has a certain frequency. It's unique. And you mix with another person, theirs is unique. And when you mix together, you make a third frequency. If you were to get pregnant, if you're a woman, now they're trying to make a man pregnant. I heard they got some French guy who's pregnant. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, it's none of my business. But, anyway, when you mix, you make a third energy. If the woman gets pregnant, the baby's biosphere, its electromagnetic energy, is a combination of the two. So the spirit of the child is both. It's a third entity. It's totally unique. Now, let's say you're being, you really got a good night going. Oh, boy, it's beautiful. It's amazing. You have 29 organisms. And you know what I'm saying? So you separate. Well, guess what? The energy you made, that third energy, is a orb. And they have shown in quantum physics using this special light called Kirlian photography. They've shown the orbs leaving the two or leaving the woman, and it travels through the universe as an energetic child, as like a lesser angel. It is traveling. They have quantum physics is wonderful because they've proven now a lot of these things that we just thought was spiritual and weird stuff to be actual factual.
Well, I don't mean to cut you off, but I hope that I can interject this. For the majority of everybody who's here that follows the channel, you know that we just broke down, Ronnie and I broke down talking about the orbs, and that when Adam and Eve first came, if you look at the breakdown in the passage, you see that they were light forces, that they were orbs, and that the skin covered the orb after the whole transition took place. And so that is so right on target with everything that we've already shared here on the Lockhart Perspective and TLP Headlines of the Voice. We talked about this, so this is exceptional to hear it from this standpoint. I'm going to give you the screen alone because I really want you to go into that.
So when you create this baby, it's an energetic baby. It leaves and travels the universe. The speed that it travels at is 744 billion miles per second. I don't know how they figured that out, but that's how quick thought travels. So when you think something, it's traveling through the universe. Well, this is a thought child. This is a creation of intimacy that is now like an angel. It travels. It's you. You may think about how many babies you might have that are related to you. There is a process, right, to reclaim and connect with your babies. And they will work for you. But right now they're coming home saying, hey, mom, hey, remember me? And you don't even know what it is. You feel funny. And then they have a fit. And now you got a headache, or you can't digest tonight. You feel weird, and you don't realize that this is your own babies coming back to you, and you're not recognizing them. So every time you're intimate, you're creating. Whether I don't care if you're wearing 29 condoms. Some folks are wearing condom suits. It looks like a suit you get inside. You zip it up in the back. It's like a skin diver suit. Covers the eyes. They got the tongue. You know what I'm saying? Actually, it's something we need to create.
Oh, wow.
Condom suit. Because this little condom don't cover enough. You know what I'm saying? It don't even go all the way. You know what I'm saying? They don't cover everything.
Oh, mercy.
They at least need to have condom underwear.
Oh, Doctah B.
Could you imagine? At least cover up. It's stuff. It's still oils and juices and sacraments.
There's like a plethora plethora of things going on
all
out there.
kinds of stuff, you know.
So we could
Good
make a
bac-
bundle.
good bacteria, hormones, leftovers, you know what I'm saying? Leftover wheat and
Oh,
gluten and
wow.
chicken
Wow.
sandwich juice. And, you know, you
And
got
those chitterlings.
pig snot and you got, cow mumps and
Chitterlings and chitlins and
undigested, whatever undigestibles. Anyway, so what you're mixing.
you're a mess.
So if you're going to wear something, you need to get a whole underwear condom at least. You see, but if you'd like to go to the next level, you get a condom suit. It can't be made out of latex because latex is a toxic poison itself. Latex is a poison. That's why doctors don't wear latex gloves.
And I'm
anymore.
allergic to latex personally. I'm
Almost everybody
personally
is
allergic to latex. Yeah. Yeah,
see,
doing
so-
hair there in Georgia, I used to have to make sure that my salons had nothing but they couldn't be the latex gloves, and they couldn't have that powdery stuff that's inside of them. We had to,
Latex,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
talcum powder.
yeah. We used to literally have to, because it would burn all my hands. It would just burn my hands, and I had a couple of other stylists that worked for me that had the same issue.
By the way, your hairdo is really fly. You're looking really good. Your skin is so wonderful. I used to be worried about you when we first started doing these sessions.
You should have been worried about me,
You
man.
wasn't looking too good.
Man, I was so
little shadows and
sick.
things
Oh
around you.
man, I was so sick. I
yes.
was so ill. I remember texting you, I don't think I'm feeling too good right now. Yeah, I might need to come and check on you, girl. Similar to that. But I was like, whoa, I know I'm in trouble. It was really bad. But I want to tell you guys something. I did the 28-day cleanse, and I did the 28-day system, and I'm about to do the next 28-day system. I gave myself a couple of weeks in between March the 8th when it ended and when I'm about to start again. But I just want to tell you that, yeah, you guys all noticed it because you guys all saw me having to take long days away and not feel so good. And then when I first started feeling better, I I ran away. You guys remember me posting up the video saying, hey, I ran away. I had to get out. And it was because I was seeing things a lot clearer. And when you get to the point where you start to cleanse and when you start to detox and when you start to just love you and really take care of you, you begin to see the mess that you're in. And I want to tell you that cloudy feeling that I was waking up with in the morning and the thinking that everything was terrible. And it was like, oh, first of all, you know that I said that we had to get off of all of the negative stuff that we were ingesting, right? Because ingesting all of that negative stuff that we were taking in was definitely doing its job, because you are what you ingest, you are what you eat. And so we had been listening to so much news, and I had been posting so much that I finally had to take a step back. And once I started doing the Paracleanse, once I started doing this cleanse and the detoxing, I was able to see clearly. And when I tell you, I text Doctah B, I text Ron, I was like, I'm out of here. Hey, I'm at the coast. I told you guys, we went online. I said, I'm at the coast. I couldn't take it anymore. And the deal is that I had been encapsulated in that, but I couldn't see it because I was literally inside of the mess that I was in, and I didn't know it, but I thought I loved what I was doing. And the issue was, yes, you were able to see it on my face. You were able to see it in my body. I kept wondering, does people not want me this way, or do they want me that way? Should I do this or shouldn't I do that? And I'm free from all of that. I am free from trying to make people happy. I am free from trying to, make everybody like everything. No, it is what it is. When you come and you see me, and when you come and you see the channel, I still love everybody. Y'all know I love to hug next, and we're going to have our event very soon. But I'm only going to be me. I can't be nobody else. And you all know that we adopted a wonderful channel that I just have to be me. I gotta be me. I just gotta be me. So yes, you are seeing a total difference. And I love wearing my hair short. And hey, my husband likes it short. So this is it. It's short and it's going to be like this. If I decide to put on a wiglet, baby, it's going to be because that's what I chose to do. However, this is me, and I just like it. I like my gray in the front. I like me. Being on that cleanse, being on that detox system for those 28 days helped me. Am I done? Oh, no, because there's so much more that has to come out, and I'm going somewhere. And while I'm on this journey, I hope you guys will all join me as well. So yes, sir. Thank you very much, kind sir. I had to put that plug in and tell you guys how I feel and why. There you go. So there's that.
So you've been intimate with someone, you've created an energetic child, which can affect your life, will affect your life. And there is a process that we do in our subconscious alignment work where we can actually, get that child to work for you. It's a part of you. It's something that can go out and search out what you desire and help you create, your what you'd like to manifest. That's a whole special process. So there's a session that I do that, with folks who are ready to do that. But another more important thing is that when you share energy with a person, you now have connected on a subconscious energetic level. For as long as this connection is happening, it's there. Now let's say, oh boy, we broke up, and you can't break up this energy because this energy is on a subconscious level and you don't even know it exists. You see? So that person has a tether, a cord. It's like a thread, an energetic thread to you. Now, some people say, well, we did a cord cutting ceremony. Yeah, but there's an uncoupling on a whole nother level that needs to happen. Because everybody that you've been intimate with, you're still being intimate with.
Well,
so let's say,
they call those soul ties, don't they? A lot of times.
Well, they're deeper than soul ties.
Okay.
But here, if you, let's say you're talking about you and your husband and your old boy. Guess what? It's not just you and your husband in the room.
Oh, I know. I'm aware of that. I'll come off the screen for this comment.
All your husbands, from the first one who might have just been in high school out by the bleachers, something happened. But that's still an energetic husband, right? He's banded to you. He's locked in. And the same thing with men. We carry the energy of everybody we've been with, but it's at a low level and it's not conscious, so you don't recognize it.
I know what you're saying is true.
What happens is when we do this process, an energetic divorce or an energetic uncoupling, your whole life changes. All of a sudden, you become transparent, you become clear, you become focused, you start speaking truth, and you don't realize how much the other relations were still connected to you. Now, I know some folks that I did a thing with a lady, we went down by the river and she splashed some water on me. That is all part of what you call consciousness. The subconscious is like, oh, hell no. I still remember him because he's the one that did that special thing that time, or he's the one that hurt me, or she's the one that blah, 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 blah. It's still in there, even if you can't totally remember it. So why not cut the ties from all of them so that this can open you up to a whole new paradigm? It's amazing when people do it because they've never done anything like this. And it has to be done kinesthetic, auditory, and visual. It has to be done in a very special sequence.
So what is that? Kinesthetic is what you can touch, right?
What you can feel, what you can touch.
Okay. Audio,
auditory
obviously
is what you hear.
Here.
And
visual.
Visual.
Okay.
It's got to be an auditory, visual experience.
And so this is a class.
Well, it's not a class. It's when I do this thing called subconscious alignment.
Okay.
Which is, this is my PhD is in this.
Okay.
Metaphysics, subconscious alignment.
Right.
What we do is we help the conscious mind and the subconscious become in alignment with themselves. Because usually the conscious mind is 10 million times stronger than your subconscious.
How did they ever get separated in the first place?
Well, they have to be separated because that's the automatic mind is your subconscious. It's the one that keeps you breathing. You don't have to think about breathing. You don't have to think about, digesting food. It does it automatically. This is the automatic mind. It's the body mind. It's the mind that remembers everything, good, bad, ugly. But what it can, it's also controlled by you, the conscious person. You're giving the input, right? You're telling the subconscious, what it should store and how it should store it in the file cabinet of your life. Now check it out. If the memory, because every memory is stored in the subconscious, if the memory is highly emotional, it is stored at the top of the file cabinet in the up front drawer. If it's a good emotional, right, memory, then it's there. You can always pull it. As soon as you feel certain states of consciousness, that drawer opens up. We're happy, we're joyful, we're doing great things. But a lot of the subconscious, right, is storing disagreeable or sad times or arguments or pain or things we went through in our lives, trauma. It's not just PTSD, it's complex PTSD because things keep happening. It's not just you were in the war and you think you're in the war, sometime you're in the mall and all of a sudden you start thinking that you're on the battlefield and you're really just in Target. You know what I'm saying? But complex PTSD is when stuff is happening all the time. And when stuff is happening all the time, it begins to flood the subconscious with all of this information, right, that's being triggered by colors, by smells. Let me tell you, Did you know that the color, what they call Coca-Cola red, triggers a whole group of emotions? Coca-Cola red is the color that Santa Claus's outfit is made of. Because, Santa Claus is owned by Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, if you go back to the 20s and 30s, you'll see where they developed the Santa Claus. There was no,
I never knew that.
There was no Santa. Like my mother said when she was a child, there was no Santa Claus. I said, well, that's because y'all was poor, right? She says, no, there wasn't none. No such thing. Nobody cared about reindeers on the roof. They're going to get shot and eaten. You know what I'm saying? Some dude out here wearing red, you know what I'm saying? We're going to need to handle him. You know what I'm saying? Trying to come down the chimney. He's 500 pounds too much. But there is a real story.
Yes, there is.
A very ancient story connected to Santa Claus, the Santa oil, the pineal gland coming down the chimney, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, right? Which has to do with the pineal, this oil called penylene, and Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer is a wolf. If you look it up, look up Rudolph, look up the name Rudolph. It says wolf, big wolf, right? Rudolph doesn't look like the other reindeers because he's not. He's wearing reindeer clothes. They even say, all of the other reindeer wouldn't let him play reindeer games. They weren't being mean. They were like, this cat could eat us, So, but anyway, that's a whole nother story. We'll talk about that soon. But that thing, this Santa story, has a lot to do with Easter. It has to do with the day when they so-called crucified the Christ figure, and then 3 days later arising. But we need to have a whole show on this. But the what they call Good Friday signals a energy. There's a special Good Friday that's not on your calendar. It doesn't sync up with the Catholic Good Friday. It's the actual cosmic Good Friday based on a star movement. It has to do with it has to do with the equinox. It has to do with the first full moon after the first new moon. There's a whole process. And what happens is after you find this particular day, you can find the real Christmas, which is going to be 270 days later. That's the real Christmas. It's very seldom ever on the 25th. And on that day, your pineal gland emits this penylene. It's usually, somewhere within the 12 days of Christmas. The song, The 12 Days of Christmas, is what they're talking about. This thing that, we do the ceremony every year.
So go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Santa Claus, for a lot of people, triggers trauma. The idea, that color red. Because of what we didn't get. That's the time when Harry came over. He was drunk when my father went off, and this and my brother got more than me. It's Santa Claus is trauma. The whole Christmas thing for most people. So you might see that this color, Coca-Cola red, and you just feel sad. You just don't feel so successful. You don't feel powerful. You don't have any idea that it's triggering a gateway and a doorway, right, that comes from trauma as a child.
So it's all witchcraft, it seems like sometimes to me. It just seems like a bunch of wizards and spooky cats.
Well, this is not bad because, see, witchcraft was a question that we asked people when we saw them. Witchcraft, what do you do? Well, I work on horses. Oh, I do horseshoes. Oh, I do herbs. Oh, I'm the basil lady. Witchcraft was something that the original people it was just a question. This is when you start getting into what they call pagans. The pagans is before the Christian era.
Yes.
Those were the natural people. Let me tell you what paganism is. When they believed God was a woman, what's wrong with that? And they believed that the women were closer to God. What's wrong with that?
Most of us are.
You see? They also believe that nature leads. Follow nature. Follow the seasons.
I think that's the problem for me.
That was the part about paganism that the church didn't like it. They said, no, you got to come to us and put money in the basket. You can't have no connection with God and seeing some woman up the street, y'all sitting around eating cabbage, talking about you feel good. No, come to church, eat the wafer, whatever else we got for you, and believe in some stuff that's unbelievable.
Well, that was a question about cabbage when you come back. Go ahead. So
but the way they were able to get people to believe so much in this stuff that was kind of twisted was sugar. White processed sugar shuts off your pineal gland. When you eat white processed sugar, your pineal gland shuts down, and you have no antenna to your environment. Your intuition shuts down, right? Now you don't know anything outside of yourself. So you don't believe that there's a higher power. So they create one for you, and you march into the church, and then you don't know if you've had enough of something. Check this out. Because sugar also affects your hypothalamus. Your hypothalamus, that gland is the one that tells you you've had enough. So if you've had enough sugar, you've had enough food, you've had enough of this relationship, you've had enough of this BS on the news, you've had enough of whatever, the hypothalamus is the one that shuts things down and says, I've had enough. It'll make you walk away from a terrible relationship or walk out of school when you know you're not going, you're going to school to be a career, and halfway while you're in school, the career disappears and the computers do it now. But that's the one that tells us we've had enough. But white processed sugar, which was being really promoted in the late 1800s, in the early 1900s, all of those corporations that came online, right? They began to make sure everybody had lots of sugar, all the sweets, so all of the foods, they sugared them up, which actually shut people down. The natural sugars don't do this because natural sugars like date sugar, coconut sugar, they don't hit the bloodstream so quickly.
I love figs.
They have a very slow glycemic index. So things with a high glycemic index is one of the highest is high fructose corn syrup, which is a byproduct of corn. It's a toxic poison, actually, which is in a lot of foods. Then white processed sugar, which uses the bones of dead cows and pigs, and they use the bones. It's called bone black or char or char bone, or no, it's char meal. You see, bone char. They actually char the bones. And during slavery time, the slaves that died and the indentured servants that died, they threw them in the bone char too. So this thing about sugar is so deep. We won't even get it. That's a whole nother show too.
It's a whole nother show, but I put up.
Gives you
go
a
ahead.
false sense of security. You feel good, but it actually shuts you down. Sugar has 250 adverse effects in your body. Wow. It is only one molecule away from cocaine. One molecule. See, so sugar is one of the most challenging things to get over. Now, let me take it to the next level.
Go ahead.
Most people hooked on sugar also have a parasite called asparagus. Asparagus is also the one that most people who have a cocaine habit, they have this parasite, which makes you crave more cocaine. And if you're not into cocaine, you're into sugar. It makes you crave more sugar. It's called asparagus. It's the sugar parasite. In fact, a lot of them will make you crave sugar because sugar shuts down your immune system also. This is white processed sugar, like the domino, and the domino effect begins to happen and you don't even realize it. It's the sugar. But when you get to the natural sugars, the ones that have a low glycemic index, so like white sugar is like 99. So as soon as you touch it on your tongue, it's in your bloodstream. It hits your brain goes dim, the nerves in your brain, everything begins to shut down because of the toxic, nature of sugar. Now, if you get to agave, even honey, they're in the 50s, maybe 60s on the glycemic index. Coconut sugar is right around 30. You got monk fruit sugar, which is really, really good. It's 0. It has no effect on the system, and it's really sweet. You see, some people like stevia. Stevia is not even a sugar. It's a sweet leaf that kind of, is 200 times sweeter than sugar. So we were sugared down in many ways. And this is when people in America during the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s forgot how to think because the sugar shuts you down. Then the sugar industry said, well, the problem is fat. Don't say it's the sugar problem. That's what, they figure, sugar is causing diabetes. No. It's fat. Did you know that the animal meat, animal flesh, most people have diabetes because of that, because the grease that is solid at 98.6 degrees in your body, which is that nice burger you just ate, when that oil solidifies, it solidifies at 98.6 degrees in your bloodstream. It goes to your pancreas and clogs up the islets. A lot of people, we get people off of, my father was diabetic for 27 years. We got him off the animal products, put him on a microbiotic diet. He did my cleanse for 3 months. And all of a sudden, he no longer had diabetes because there's also a parasite, right, that lives in the pancreas called the pancreatic fluke worm. Most people in America have it because it comes from sheep originally. But let's say you didn't eat sheep. Well, the sheep are now with the pigs and the cows, and they're all in the feedlot together. So they're sharing, they're cross-contaminating each other. So these are zoonotic, illnesses. A lot of the illnesses we have are zoonotic. And we live like animals, and animals look at us sometimes like, oh, what the heck are you doing? You see? So there's a connection between a lot of things. And once we get this, we begin to, get this stuff out of the system and detoxify. We begin to love again. And one other thing, excitotoxins are poisonous substances that come from eating preserves, things that are preserved with chemicals, and flavor enhancers like MSG, monosodium glutamate. Now, seaweed has glutamate. It's actually good for you. All seaweeds have this glutamate. It wraps up your blood vessels and helps to help blood vessels from hemorrhaging. If you had enough glutamate in your system and you started having a stroke, the glutamate would wrap up the blood vessel and you wouldn't have a full stroke. But what people are eating is this monosodium glutamate, which is made by man to make food sit on the shelf forever, to make foods that taste terrible suddenly taste like something.
I'm terribly allergic to monosodium glutamate. Immediately, if it's on my tongue, somebody will bring me something. If it's supposed to be spicy, as soon as I taste it, I'm like, this has MSG in it. I can't eat it. I mean, terrible, terrible sickness I get. So I can't, wow. That's amazing that you're talking about this right now. For those of you who are listening or just tuning in, please do not forget to look down below. It says find Doctah B here. It's elevationtime.com. That's where you want to go if you want to find out more about what Doctah B has going on. Remember, the things that you're hearing here are not medical suggestions. We're not replacing any doctors or anything. We want you to check with your physician before you think or try anything, anywhere. Don't believe us, do your own research. But what we are here to do is to enhance your life and to help you out just a bit to find some things that maybe some alternatives that maybe you hadn't thought about while you're inside the box. And before you get permanently in a box, you might want to go to elevationtime.com. Dr. B is our guest here today, visiting with us, and he'll be here with us at least once a month just to brighten up your day, just to make you happy. Nothing harmful, nothing gonna hurt you. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you take the next few minutes, but I just wanted to plug that in and say, hey, if you're looking for them, look down below on the ticker. You'll see it right there, elevationtime.com.
Well, these excitotoxins, right, which are called excitotoxins because the minute they touch a nerve or a neuron, that neuron keeps firing and firing and firing very, very quickly until it dies. Let's say a nerve has a lifespan. One nerve ending might have a lifespan. Let's say it was 3 months, 4 months. The minute an excitotoxin like MSG, and it's a whole group of them, the minute they touch the nerve begins to fire, begins to shake and shudder really, really fast. It's really excited and it dies. It kills brain cells. It makes us numb. People can't feel anymore. They don't even know when something is gross or not. They've lost the sense of just knowing when something is not right because of excitotoxins. You don't feel, and your body also can't send the message because when you're having an issue, the nervous system sends a message to the brain, to the organs back and forth to say that there's a problem. But so many people are full of excitotoxins, they can't feel. They don't feel right. This is a serious thing. And these excitotoxins, once again, is the MSG, the flavor enhancers. Another one is this nutritional yeast. A lot of folks use nutritional yeast. I'm into the healthy thing. I'm getting this nutritional yeast. It makes stuff taste cheesy, and it makes my kale, a lot of these kale salads, they say put nutritional yeast in them. That nutritional yeast is an excitotoxin. It's a poison. Please look up excitotoxins. In fact, there's a video. It's kind of old. It's called Excitotoxins, The Taste That Kills. There's a book by the same name. And this guy, Dr. Baylock, he is, you just got to listen to that. It's really good stuff. And he's breaking it down. But a lot of us have these excitotoxins in our brain, in our nervous system. They're causing autoimmune. The list of what they cause are amazing. So we created this new product actually last week because there was so many people calling. I was on another radio show and everybody's dealing with this excitotoxicity that they called something else. So we created this excitotoxin relief kit. It's on the website, and you take that, and it begins to the excitotoxin relief kit. Excitotoxin relief. It's a special group of products which helps to rebuild, your body from this excitotoxin poison.
Wow. Okay. Suspicious by Nature just went and did some stuff and put it up here. It says that excitotoxins are a class of chemicals, usually amino acids, that overstimulate neuron receptors. And I'm guilty of liking the nutritional yeast that I'll be throwing out in just only moments.
A lot of things that we're involved with that we were told were healthy, where it was healthy for the business. It's like, some of this plant-based meat. It was healthy for the people that sell it. It might not have been healthy for you. Healthy doesn't always mean good. You got to do more research, go deeper.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Especially with
levels
the
to this
kale,
thing.
for example. Yeah.
But if you start looking at some of these plant-based products, somebody was telling me about this plant-based burger, so I went and looked at it. It had so many excitotoxins. It had so many chemicals. It was almost everything in it was genetically engineered. In fact, this particular product, they took the blood of a cow in a laboratory and synthesized the blood in the cow in the laboratory so that the burger could taste kind of like beef. I'm like, what?
Yes, I know
That's
that.
impossible. Burger.
You stupid.
Oh,
he did it. He went there.
FDA came down on them and said, whoa, 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 whoa. You got to watch what you're saying because you lying.
He wrong for that one. Who our guest today is Dr. B, and we are so happy to have him with us. We're about an hour and maybe like an hour and 7 minutes into this show. And you see it down right below there. There's the ticker tape that's telling you about elevationtime.com. It is really time for you. If you have not already considered, please do, because hey, you ain't got but one you. You ain't but one of you. Sometimes as we be, eating a whole lot of stuff, it makes us feel like there are several people in here not paying rent. And well, I'm going to leave that right there. But you've only got one of you. And so why won't you just consider glancing over there just to see why he spritzes and sprays himself? Go on over there and check it out. If you guys have wondered why I feel a little bit more energetic, why I look a little bit better over the past couple of weeks, this is why, because I have been detoxing and I am about to start the next one again. There were several people here who've actually joined and started to take some of the products. And I'm very ecstatic to hear their stories and how they tell me how much they're feeling better. And it's just about taking care of yourself, family. That's really what this is all about. It's not about anything else but taking care of you. Because if you don't have your life support, how are you going to be a life support to anybody else? If you can't breathe, then nobody else can breathe, especially if they're depending on you to do that. That's the reason why when the little thingy falls in the airplane, they say, you put it on your face first, and then you can help everybody else. So you got a baby, mama, daddy, you breathe first, and then give it to the baby. So that's what I want to encourage everybody to do. We just had our full moon, the last one of winter. We're in spring. So that's why the title of this show is Spring Cleaning. Doctah B Spring Cleaning, because I want everybody to get well and healthy. And I do believe that as we go into this next, I know that we're in Aquarius now. You guys already know that. We're like, if you look at the thingy, you can see like right there on the verge, like going into another. You need to get yourself together because we don't know what's around the corner, but we do know that you'll be able to take it a lot better if you cleanse and take care of yourself. And so, Dr. B, I'm going to ask you to, first of all, I'm going to add this to the stream because he mentioned your pineal gland. Don't think it's strange that right outside of the Vatican, which as I always make a note of, telling you guys, the Vatican is its own country that has these big gates around them to protect stuff. But all throughout Rome or throughout the Vatican, you will see these large pine cones, and it's almost like they're rubbing it in your face. And so, I wanted to show you guys this because, that's what they are. And is it strange? Is it creepy? Is it odd? Is it by accident? Pine cone in Vatican City. Look at that. Of course, you can buy it for $12 if you want to go to this website, iStock. But my point is they're making it pretty apparent that your pineal gland, the thing that helps you see, the things that, some of us may Some of us may have it very natural where we're able to see. And then some of us, and I'll say this, that mine got a whole lot better after I took the cleanse. My seeing was able to come back, because back a long time ago, I could tell you if somebody was coming to your house and you say, I never have anybody at my house, so I know you tripping. I could tell you, and the person would be knocking on the door in 3 minutes. I've told you guys the story about when my sister was over in South America, and I was all the way in Germany, and I went to sleep. And as I went to sleep, I woke up on the side of water, and my sister was in South America, and I didn't know. And lo and behold, we talk a few hours later, and she was in the water drowning, and I pulled her out of the water in the dream, and in the dream something jerked her out of the water. What am I saying? What I'm saying is that you have some natural abilities that Yah, the Most High, has given you already. They're already there. For those of you who haven't been kicking it with them, it's okay. But for those of you who say, something told me not to go around that corner, and I'm glad I listened, because there was XYZ around there. Conversely, there are some of us who say, I knew I shouldn't have made that right turn, because now that left turn, because now look where I ended up. Or I knew I shouldn't have trusted her with that red skirt on and them high heel pumps. I knew something was bad about her. And then you end up, getting your dough beat down by her old man. We all have gifts and talents. This pineal gland is very, in tandem with other things, is very key when you consider the why of the why and exactly who you are. Who you are is paramount as to why you don't know everything about you. Don't you want to know everything about you? Don't you want to fire on all cylinders? Yeah, I know you do. Go ahead and look at that link right there. Right there. Why? Because I feel good, and I want you to as well. ElevationTime.com. Dr. B, before we clear up out of here, what else would you like to add with us today?
Well, first of all, the Vatican, from what I understand, is not a country. It's called the corporation soul. That's a whole special thing, the corporation soul.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's keep moving.
Yeah.
The pineal that's your first eye. That's your intuition, but it has to be connected directly to your gut, because your gut has more neurons than anything else. The gut feeling, that gut feeling, is the one that's telling you right away what's happening before it happens. The gut feeling, right, is happening on what they call the event horizon. It can those friendly bacteria and that energy in your solar plexus knows things that are happening just before it happens. But the gut is toxic because of what we've eaten. It's full of parasites and what they call gluteomorphates, which have it high and doped up. That's a whole other thing, the gluteomorphates. And there's also caseomorphate from cheese and milk. But the body is toxic with these things, so you can't feel anything. So there are two things that we have that helps the pineal come back online. One of them is called the Platinum Life Elixir, Gregory Reserve. It's a product that we actually worked on with Dick Gregory. It helps you grow young. It helps to repair your telomeres. Your telomeres are what keeps you young. It keeps the cells repairing themselves. It keeps the body, you have a different sense of awareness once your telomeres, because they're like little telephones at the end of your genes. And they're calling everybody else around to say, hey, we're doing good or we're not doing so good. When the little telomeres at the end of your genes shorten, you have a shorter lifespan. You have a less life expectancy, and you don't expect that much out of life because you don't feel good because you're not connected, because your chromosomes are what's picking up the light and the sources of energy from the universe. Through the pineal, through the gut, they are all connected. So we did create this excitotoxin relief kit, right? That helps with the pineal. It helps get rid of the excitotoxin activity that has damaged our brain and our neurons. And that is at the website, elevationtime.com. Right now we just went through the spring equinox. Well, that ties directly into your health, because whatever is happening in the environment is happening in you. So we got to get rid of winter. All that time we spent in winter, in the cold, and dealing with, virus offsprings and all the stories and all the stuff that happens in winter. All the animals in nature are coming to life. The farmers and gardeners are planting new seeds. Well, what seeds are you planting? You've got to plant seeds about what you desire, what you would like to create, what you would like to manifest this fall or later this year. People have to get in alignment, in a rhythm with springtime so they can spring forward. You see, we know March is the beginning of the real year, the cosmic year, right? So what are you doing? You've got to get a new goal mind. You've got to decide what is your mission here. And to do that, you've got to detoxify your system. So the elevated total body program and the total body program, those were made to help you detoxify from the parasites, the yeast, the fungi, the candidiasis, all of this stuff that you've built up through the winter. No matter what you're going, I don't care if you was the best eater in the world and you've done colon cleanses. That's not going to stop these what they call superbugs. Superbugs don't care about you could doing a colon cleanse and buying a little $9.99 para cleanse program that you bought at the health food store. The elevated total body program deals with the material in your body, the DNA in your body that's not yours. It's working on the liver, the kidneys, the spleen, the pancreas. It's beginning to eradicate parasites that are superbugs, because systemic parasites are different than your regular everyday parasites that you have in your digestive tract. Those are easy to get rid of. The ones that are called superbugs are the ones that are called systemic parasites, live throughout the body. You have them because you look up at the sky or a white wall and you see these little squiggly lines floating by and they're swimming. Those are worms. Those are floaters in the eye. But there's parasites in the liver, the kidneys, the spleen. There's liver flukes. There's parasites that live in the pancreas. And like I said, a lot of people in America, over 70%, have this one in the head called toxoplasma. Some people say, well, that's only if you have cats. No. They're in everything. They're in the feedlots where they keep all the animals. And one thing about toxoplasma is it keeps you domesticated. You'll never break free from relationships. You'll never break free and become sovereign within yourself. You'll never have the original knowing of who you are as long as you have toxoplasma. So we put this together to help get rid of toxoplasma and systemic parasites, and it takes at least 28 days. You cannot do a cleanse for a weekend in 7 days, and oh boy, you got rid of these superbugs. Huh? Superbugs live in a 28-day cycle, a circadian rhythm. They eat, they mate, they procreate, they hang out, they even go to church, parasite church, and they read the parasite Bible now. they got the parasite organist and they're praying now. You know what I'm saying? They know how to, the parasite Bible is real. And they got a parasite preacher. But my point is they live like in a hive. And it's queens that control everything. And they're very intelligent. They're 2.5 billion year old creatures that basically are like controlling almost everything on the planet. It's amazing. Even governments and religions, they say, there's a book. It's called Your Brain on Parasites.
Your Brain on Parasites.
Do I have it sitting here? The Brain on Parasites book is really good because it breaks down how there's a new part of science. It's called psychoparasitology. Psychoparasitology. These scientists have finally discovered and are admitting that parasites are actually controlling most of humanity's ways. The wars, the way people fight, the way people live, their beliefs, because they believe somebody else is dirty. So there's the fear of a plague. There's a fear of a disease. Like, nobody wants to talk to anybody right now if they don't have on a mask because you could catch something. These beliefs, these things change based on parasites, plagues, diseases that happen, and people create a way of living and create communities that I got to stay away from them because they don't look good. That's the book. Very good book. This is Your Brain on Parasites, how tiny creatures manipulate our behavior and shape society. That book is off the chain.
This almost sounds like they're from another planet.
Some are. Some are actually that came here on space dust. Some came here on asteroids. And they say 6,000 years ago, these things landed or appeared in the sky all over the planet. And they show them in pictures and people drew them on cave walls. Well, not just cave walls, but they just had this depiction of these things landing. Now, check this out. They are now saying that these beings that came 6,000 years ago left drones. Biological drones called toxoplasma.
Wow.
Now, in Kemet or Egypt, They're the first people to domesticate and hybridize and crossbreed cats,
That's true.
along with wheat. They made
Mm.
it.
Mm.
They had this thing with cats. Wild cats, they do their thing. They don't hang around humans. They're not
Mm-mm.
wait. They'll eat you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't want to be around that.
When this particular type of cat was created, the house cat,
Yeah.
these beings, they say, inseminated this parasite called toxoplasma into the cats.
Mm.
That's why cats have that look and no personality. They just kind of like they
I
have
think they're mean. I don't like cats.
And when
I'm allergic to them, first
when
off.
cats poop,
Mm-hmm.
there is toxoplasma in their poop.
I'm very allergic to
Listen
them.
now, rats and mice love cat poop and cat urine. We don't know why.
Mm.
They're attracted to it. Even dogs are attracted to it. They eat it.
Mm.
When they eat it, the mouse or the cat or the rat or whatever loses its sense of self.
Mm.
It's no longer afraid of a cat.
Mm.
So here the cat comes out and there's the mouse. He's supposed to run automatically. He doesn't
Mm-hmm.
run. He just sits there looking and he goes into a freeze mode. Cat walks over gently and eats him.
Mm.
Why? Because toxoplasma plays with your perception of fear, and your perception of who you are. It plays with your sense of self. You
Mm-hmm.
forget who you are. You won't break
Mm-hmm.
away from the system because toxoplasma will keep you what? In a state of domestication.
Mm.
Well, guess what? Now this parasite, right, is being used in the feedlots where they keep the chickens and pigs and cows, right?
Mm-hmm.
They actually are giving it to the animals because the animals will never run away. They're afraid of the farmer.
Wow.
All your cows could get together and trample the farmer down and run off.
But
They're not going to do it
Mm-mm.
because toxoplasma, right? It affects them. There's a doctor named Dr. Sapolsky. When you
Mhm.
look up Dr. Sapolsky, he's a biochemist and biology specialist. He's on YouTube too. And he
Okay.
starts talking about toxoplasma. And he says, the military knows all about toxoplasma
Wow.
because it may be in the shots they're giving people. Why else would someone run towards gunfire and bombs? What else would make you forget your family and sense of self and kill your own family and rape people innocent and just fry them? Toxoplasma will cause you to do that. So they're saying that toxoplasma is basically a drone of an alien species that came a long time ago and has caused humanity to be brain dead.
Wow.
They're saying that toxoplasma is what caused the last 2 years for people to freak out and be afraid of something they didn't even understand.
Mm.
You see?
Wow.
And then some people say, I don't eat cows, I don't eat chickens, I don't eat pigs, I don't have toxoplasma.
Mhm.
But you may have kissed somebody, touched somebody, sweated with somebody, touched the doorknob. Toxoplasma is deep. It's so deep. This is the thing that's the mind control parasite. Now, drugs can't kill it because it's in the brain. The blood-brain barrier blocks a lot of chemicals from getting there because it lives in the amygdala, right?
Mhm.
So we had to figure out how to get there. So we found a certain type of essential oil, a group of essential oils, flower essences, crystal elixirs, which are creating a vibration and musical frequencies, along with these very rare herbs.
Mhm.
So we create in this total, what we call the elevated total body program, it creates an electromagnetic or biosphere that has such a vibration that it kills or eradicates or at least chases this parasite away. So when people do it, like you were talking about, you wake up, you feel better. You start looking at your friends and all of a sudden they're enemies. You start looking at your enemies and maybe that's my friend. You know what I'm saying? And you get a sense of self because what we're under control of, what we're being controlled by is this parasite toxoplasma, which is the drone of an off-world being. Now some people say,
Wow.
"Oh, Dr. B, come on, now you okay? Go talk."
Wow.
When I was
And
teaching,
nothing shocks me anymore.
when I was teaching at UCLA, okay, I used to go hang out in those biomedical labs.
Mhm.
They knew all about this. They
Wow.
looked at how the grasshopper wasn't jumping and wasn't being the grasshopper. It's because he's got toxoplasma.
Wow.
The frog is sitting around, hanging out with the cat. He's supposed to be jumping around looking for the next lake to get in or the next swamp, but he's forgotten because of toxoplasma. The average person in America has toxoplasma, so they're domesticated and they will not run away. So they're like chattel. I am saying the people who have done our elevated total body program. They wake up.
And I took off running.
You
I
take off
left.
running.
I left. I literally ran. I had no idea about this. I literally said to everybody, I ran away. I literally ran to the coast and I was just there. I was like, okay, I love that breeze. I love that feeling. Woo wee. That is sand in between my toes. Wow.
Toxoplasma.
Wow.
We are the only, probably I'm the only scientist I know of that actually discovered this. Nobody looked at it. I've been talking to other scientists. They say, well, how does it work? Well, I was trained I've had 13 mentors by a lot of teachers. Check this out. My landlord, remember he used to come to my studio in LA?
Yeah.
The little house with the studio in it?
Yeah.
The man who owned that house was the man who created the triggering mechanism for the atom bomb.
Get out of here.
His name was Alvin B. Sugarman.
Get
he
out.
owned that house, and he rented that house just to get out of his house. He rented it to me, and he said, I just want to be able to get out of the house sometime and come talk to somebody so I could tell you about the things that we discovered. And this is in the 80s.
Yeah.
This man was one of the most powerful mathematicians. He created the triggering mechanism for the atom bomb. He knew so much about quantum physics and all of this stuff. He just would sit and download because he knew he was dying. And he said, Dr. B, I want you to know this stuff. You were at the house. The man who owned that.
Yeah, I've seen him before, but I had no clue that's what he had done.
He looked like Barbar the elephant. He was all hunched over.
Yeah.
He had really big ears and he talked like,
Get out of here. Yes.
He had thick green glasses on because the light from the exploding bombs had messed with his eyes. But he knew Oppenheimer, and this was my landlord.
I had no clue.
I've had people throughout my life like him who have dropped some science on me and given me little devices that I begin to use in the natural health world that nobody knows anything about. They're like, what is that? Well, this is something that was given to me by blah, blah, blah. And they talked about these off-world beings, some of them microscopic, and how there's planets and whole universes that could be on a speck of dust traveling through space. They know about this. We think that the aliens got to have little
yeah,
little special,
big heads and little eyes.
Big heads. That's what they're telling you. There are things on this planet that didn't come here.
Well, I know about a Hydra.
Let me give you one more. We're going to talk about the Hydra in 1 second.
Okay.
This one is Helicobacter pylori. Helicobacter pylori, right? Is a parasite that causes, people to have ulcers and things. Also heart illnesses and things like that. Helicobacter pylori, they say, is an alien bug, doesn't have DNA like anything else on the planet. It's got a big eye. It's intelligent. It's got these arms and legs that, when they look at it in a microscope, it's looking back at them. It knows that you're there. It's very sentient. You see, another one is the Hydra, which is a water being.
Yes.
It's an alien water being that, by the way, whenever my Macintosh time's up, guess what the little thing floating across the screen is? My screensaver. It's an Hydra. It's like, Apple,
you cut them and they keep multiplying.
Most
they multiply in fours, though. Twos or fours.
Most parasites, when you cut them up, they're worms or vermin. They multiply. You cut them up into 2. Now you got 5. Now you got 6. Now you got multiply. So you can't just, and people say, well, I cook my food really good. Did your stove go to 1500? You got a pottery kiln?
I wouldn't eat out of it.
Do you make a brick oven? Because if you take your nice, fresh USDA, grade A, whatever, which is trash, right, and put that in the pottery oven and turn it up to 1500 degrees, you might have killed everything when that stuff turns into a white powder. But parasites go into what they call a cyst. And that cyst can withstand up to 1500 degrees and sub below temperatures. They're survivalists.
Wow.
They're much more intelligent than we are. They've been here for 2.5 billion years, and there's so many different types. There's just 2,000 that they've discovered that can live in humans, that cross from from animals to humans and humans to animals. This is a deep subject.
This is a deep subject. And you know what? I know we're running out of time because I have to go. You got to go. And I know everybody else here is really enthused about the information. I want to invite you back. I know we said once a month. If you want to come back sooner, I'm going to leave that up to you. If you want to, we'll see you soon next month if you don't want to come back any sooner. But when you come back, I want to begin to crack each one of these down. You know what I mean? And
We
what
will.
is what and what do they do? We have two questions from the chat, and I want to give an answer for the first one, and that one was dealing with it's like a which one, which diet to do. We're not going to give you any diet advice. You know why? Because we're not in a position to do that. As a coach myself, I'm not in a position to tell you which one is better than either of these, whether it be keto or paleo. What we are going to tell you is the facts that we're giving out today it's just information. You're the only one that can make the decision based on that. However, there are lots of things that I think that you'll learn when you go to the website elevationtime.com, and you'll be able to, make some purchases there. Also, when you get your purchase, they give you some wonderful leaflets, as well as, to me, a book that you should be charged for. Now, it's maybe like 8 or 9 pages. It could be less, could be more, but I think it should be charged. But that's not what they do. This actual pamphlet that they give you is bound in little staples, but it gives you so much information. There's a plethora, literally a myriad of information that'll help keep you armed and answer some of those questions that you may not be able to get by just asking anybody else. Lots of information. It's loaded there. When you go to the website, elevationtime.com, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. And once you start using the products, you'll see exactly what I mean. Why I started running and didn't know. I literally got up and couldn't take it anymore. I was in my house and I was like, I can't take it. The whole family was supposed to go. It ended up being, this one said they weren't coming. They ended up coming later. But do you realize I pushed the date to come home back even more because I was like, that's it. And I'm about to run away again. I really am. But the deal is that being here for 2 years, dealing with all this stuff, just going around, going to this place and that place, I didn't see it until literally I was well into the cleanse, and I was like, that's it. I'm out of here. With that said, we can't tell you which one is best for you. What we will tell you is, if you've got a physician, talk to your doctor about that, and they will be able to help lead you, or you can lead and guide yourself as you can. You govern yourself accordingly. The second thing was about cabbage. Is cabbage a hybrid, or is cabbage good?
Cabbage is a hybrid, but
Okay.
it's I would say it's a good hybrid
Okay.
because it's from that family of plants called the cruciferous, which have
Yes.
special proteins, a special biochemical makeup. The
Okay.
one thing that cabbage has is it's called what's it called now? What is it called? Bismuth. I had to say
Okay.
Pepto
Oh,
Bismol.
apples have bismuth too.
Well, they have a little bit, but
Hmm.
the cabbage has a very concentrated amount of bismuth.
Okay.
Bismuth is a mineral that keeps the food from sitting on the wall of your digestive tract.
Hmm.
It kind of creates magnetism so that the food is digested correctly and doesn't lay up against the wall. So there was that
Hmm.
product years ago called Pepto Bismol.
Yeah.
That was basically bismuth, the pink stuff. So
Hmm.
you had a stomach issue, you had too much acid, you take that Pepto Bismol, it would coat the walls of your
Hmm.
digestive tract. So cabbage does that. Cabbage is an excellent food for cleansing, and when you do our program, as Felicia said, we have a booklet that comes with it that it's a nutritional guide. And on one side it
Hmm.
says, don't eat this.
Hmm.
Stay over here on this side. And it's not about these trends and all these other diets, because
Hmm.
diets, I don't like the word diet at the beginning. Diet's going to kill you. You see, and there's a new one. There's the California diet. There's the Los
Oh
Angeles, there's the
boy.
Georgia diet.
Oh
There's the
wow.
New Hampshire diet. There's the
Throw it
Beverly
all
Hills diet.
away. Throw
So
it all
all of these
away.
things,
Hmm.
are kind of like trends, but there is a way to eat for you. And what we
Hmm.
can also do is, folks who do consultations with me, we can customize based on your biology, not based on your blood type. That's a whole nother thing. They made a lot of money on
Mm.
that one, because a lot of people's blood types haven't been typed correctly. And you can't talk about what the blood type of an ancient African was when you didn't meet one. This is what they told me. Well, they told me I'm supposed to eat meat and chicken and milk. I said, well, you're trying to kill me. Well, we're based on your blood type. Listen, it ain't about your blood type. It's about your biochemistry. It's about who you are. It's about your goals. And it's about a lot of things. But if you don't
Hmm.
get rid of these parasites, it doesn't make any difference how you eat.
Hmm. I was finding there were things thinking for me.
Parasites. I know some folks. Well, I'm just gonna get that program I saw at Half Foods the other day. It was in the aisle, and it was $9.99. Let me tell you something. What you're gonna do is you're gonna
You
kill a
didn't say
few.
half.
You're gonna kill some of the digestive weak parasites, which makes the
Hmm.
strong ones stronger.
Okay.
There's a
Okay.
special program, y'all. Otherwise, these things, they're very intelligent. They're going to come back with a vengeance.
Yeah, they
And
are.
almost every illness that you know of is based around parasites. The parasites may not have caused it, but they're living in the area where the illness is. So
Mm.
whether it's heart disease, kidney disease, cancer, it doesn't make any difference. Let's get rid of the parasites first.
Mm.
And a lot of times when people do the parasite cleanse, right? Some
Hmm.
folks choose to do it for up to 3 months if they have serious,
I have to do it
ongoing.
2 more months.
They find that their serious condition
Hmm.
disappears.
Hmm.
This is what I found when I was really sick in the late 1980s.
Hmm.
This is how I'm here right now because they gave me a year. I didn't take it. I said, "Take that. You take that pill." You know what I'm saying? I'm not taking it. But it's people have to get back to basics here, and detoxing with the season is wonderful. And what you do this spring is can affect the rest of your life. What you put in the soil, the fertile body, which is like the earth, your own earth Gaia ship. What you put in your body is going to grow. If you're going to put toxins in your body and not detoxify, you're going to give birth to an ugly garden, and it's not going to be happy. Wait till the next 3 to 4 years are going to be it's going to be crazy because now they're seeing the effects of some of this stuff that people took or was involved with in the last few years. It's taking folks out.
Well,
So we have something special in the cleanse to
okay.
detoxify that stuff out too.
Hmm.
It's a 28-day program. The elevated total body program is the choice of most of the folks who are really trying to live the best life. There is another one called the total body program. You see, that one is
Okay.
good too. And then, like I said, that excitotoxin relief kit,
Hmm.
it's amazing. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I want to thank all of you in advance for going to Elevation Time. And even on the website, there's a phone number, and we will call you back if you have, some brief
Oh, they're
questions, or
good. We're calling you right
you
back.
can
Any
email.
questions?
And we might not call you right back because like right now it's 100 messages, sitting, and I've got to get that. Nobody wants to talk to anybody but me. They've cussed out the lady that answers the phone and they say, "I want to talk to Dr. B. Who the heck are you?" So I attempt to do my best at calling you back. Be patient and be patient with yourself. Stop judging others. Love yourself. You know, get into a place where you can be peaceful. If you got to run off to the beach like Felicia and stand on the bridge, I think that's what she called. I can hear the wind in the background. You got to stand on the bridge. You got to cross the river from the world of war and fighting, and all that, and get to a place of peace within yourself.
Man,
Doesn't make any difference what they're doing out there.
I
It's
don't
what
care.
are you doing in here?
I don't even care no more. I don't
So
care what
much
they
love.
doing. Yes,
It
we
doesn't make any
appreciate
difference
you.
to you.
I don't care what they're doing anymore. I really don't. I mean, I bring it to you and I tell you what it's all about. But I always try to give you hope at the end of all of it because to me, I don't really care. That's their business. That's them folks, and that's who they are, and that's who they're gonna be. And we already know what's good. So, Dr. B, we want to thank you so very much for being a part of the TLP family, the Lockhart Perspective family, the Headlines of the Voice family, and we just want to thank you so very much for coming in and sharing it, with us. Here's me. I feel like, anytime I have something that's good, I want to share with everybody. And that's just the way that I am. I just do. And so I appreciate you for coming in and sharing your expertise with us. And thank you so very much for just doing what you do and being who you are. Thank you for being here, and we hope to see you again even sooner than the 1 month mark because you will be a guest here with us once a month. Hopefully, if you want to come back any sooner, you'll be the one to let us know that. But thank you so very much for being with us, kind sir.
And thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. And love yourself as much as I love you.
Aw.
Do the best thing you possibly can. And Felicia, I haven't heard my commercial. I'm wondering about that. You know what I'm saying? Do I have to make a personal call to you? Where's my commercial now? I took time to miss this commercial. I hope you ain't got the forgetfulness parasite.
No, I do not have the forgiveness parasite. I have to take that video and I have to tweak it and then I have to upload it and bang zoom Allison, it'll be here. So I tell you guys what, you make sure that you guys help keep me accountable too. You'll see his commercial. It is very good, but I have to try to figure out a way to convert it so that it comes out the highest that it can because I don't want YouTube doing the correction for me. It does a correction, as you know, when you upload something, they'll say, well, we'll do the correction for you. And I'm like, no, I don't want you to. I'm going to fix it on my end and then I'll upload it. But you guys will see it and it's very good. Highly informative, and you guys will see it. Okay,
it's
thank
on my
you so
YouTube.
much. Yes, it's on his YouTube. Go to Dr. B's YouTube, and that is Doctah B
Doctah B Sirius.
Doctah B Sirius. It's right here on YouTube. You can find him there. Please go over there and join his channel and then share it with other people, because as soon as he goes live, guess what? You'll be a part of it, and you'll be a part of it firsthand. You'll hear it first there before you hear it over here. So Dr. B, thank you so much. Thank you, each and every one of you guys, for being with us today, for sharing all of your thoughts and your questions here. I want to say hi to Amy. I want to say hi to Sarah. I want to say hello to Maureen Olson. Also, hey, Betty R. and Suspicious by Nature. Thank you guys for being, hey, Leaf Desi. Thank you guys all for being so active in the chat. Thank you for sharing it. Inger Norman, it's good to see you, sis. All of you all who are here, thank you, thank you, thank you for your support. Even for those of you, Black Spring with Autumn, sister, how are you doing? For those of you who are not able to actually make comments or anything like that, thank you guys for being here, just your support and being here. And before you leave, would you please do me a big favor and hit that thumbs up button, because it really does let the algo know that, hey, this is some good information and we need to share it around. The thing that costs the least, the thing that is so valuable to us, costs the least to take care of. And yet, for whatever reason, we don't take care of us. Don't let it be said too late, and don't be remembered as a memory. Let's get it together now so that we can be able to take care of those we love, and so that those that love us will be continuously blessed by our presence. You guys take care of yourselves, and remember what we always say here on the TLP show. Always, that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High Yah. You guys take care of yourselves and continue to take care of one another, and please continue to be blessed.
Black perspective.